Imagine sitting down to play, a heroic fantasy game.
Right, you've got your snacks, your dice.
Exactly. You're completely ready to be this mighty warrior or wise wizard. But instead, you are handed a turnip farmer.
A turnip farmer.
Literally, a turnip farmer armed with nothing but a pitchfork and like a live chicken.
It really shatters that illusion of control right out of the gate. I mean, you aren't a hero yet. You're barely even a survivor.
Welcome to this deep dive. For today's session, we're digging into the colossal, I think it's like a 500-page rule book for Dungeon Crawl Classics.
Yeah, DCC.
Right, DCC. And we're looking at that alongside the designer Joseph Goodman's own developer notes. Our mission here is to figure out why this game completely abandons modern gaming trends.
It really does. It goes in the exact opposite direction.
If you're listening to this, you probably know all about the current obsession with balance and optimization, making sure your character's perfectly scaled. But DCC just throws all of that out the window in favor of this absolute, brutal, and just highly entertaining chaos.
Chaos is definitely the right word for it.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because modern games are kind of like a perfectly curated resume.
Right, yeah.
You control every single detail, you allocate every skill point, you write this 10-page backstory to justify exactly why you're so special. Whereas DCC is, well, it's like being dropped in the woods with nothing but a spatula and being told to survive.
That's a great way to put it. And what's fascinating here is that deliberate choice by the designer, Joseph Goodman. He's using randomization not to just punish players, but to cure what you could call the modern gaming disease of min-maxing.
Oh, that constant mathematical tweaking.
Exactly. Building the perfect, unbeatable character. By taking away that control, DCC actually creates a perfectly even playing field. I mean, everyone starts in the mud.
And when you say the mud, you mean literal mud.
Oh, yeah.
Because before we can even talk about the game's mechanics, we have to look at how a player even gets a character. I was reading the section on the zero-level funnel, and my optimizer brain is just screaming.
Oh, I bet.
It feels like a massive waste of time at first glance. Because you don't make one character. You generate 3 or 4 randomly rolled peasants.
Yeah, that's right. The funnel is the defining experience of the whole game. Instead of meticulously crafting one protagonist, you basically roll up a small mob of nobodies.
Nobody's putting it mildly. I mean, you start with 0 XP.
Zero.
You have 104 hit points, which means like a stiff breeze could kill you. And you get a completely random occupation. I was looking at this massive D percentile table for starting careers.
Yeah.
You roll the dice, and maybe you get a gong farmer.
A classic.
Right. Your starting equipment is literally a sack of night soil and a trowel.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're a halfling chicken butcher with a hand axe and 5 pounds of chicken meat. Or a dwarven rat catcher.
Yeah. Or like a baker with a rolling pin.
Yeah.
And the game actually instructs the players to go around the table and introduce these utterly mundane peons to each other before sending them into this deadly dungeon.
But, okay, here is my genuine pushback on this. Why would anyone willingly subject themselves to that? Like, you sit down, you have your 4 peasants, and most of them are going to die horribly. Right away, a trap goes off, boom, there goes the cheesemaker.
Yep, cheesemaker is toast.
A goblin swings a sword, goodbye to the haberdasher. It's an absolute meat grinder.
Yeah.
Only the survivors who managed to scrape together 10 XP actually advance to level 1 and choose a real class like wizard or thief. Doesn't losing your characters instantly feel incredibly frustrating for a player? Or is that high mortality rate the actual secret sauce that makes the survival feel earned?
It's definitely the secret sauce. If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to look at the psychology of organic attachment, because you're controlling multiple characters at once. Losing one doesn't actually kick you out of the game.
Right, you still have 3 other guys.
Exactly. It just raises the stakes. You find yourself actively deciding, which of your randomly generated peasants takes the risk to open the door and which one hides in the back.
The coward strategy. I like it.
Yeah. Hey, it works. In a standard game, you tell the table how brave your character is by reading that 10-page backstory. In DCC, your bravery is defined by the fact that your baker somehow survived a dungeon using only a rolling pin.
So it's not about building a hero. It's about saving one.
Precisely. By the time that one surviving woodcutter reaches level 1, you are fiercely protective of them. Because they defied the odds, You didn't engineer their survival. You earned it.
Okay, so your turnip farmer survives the funnel. They're battered, traumatized, probably missing an ear.
Definitely traumatized.
Right. So you reach level 1, and if you're like anyone listening to this right now, your optimizer brain kicks back in. You think, Great, now I get to fix their stats and make them a real hero.
You don't.
You don't.
Ooh.
DCC strictly forbids this. It leans even further into the physical mechanics of Fate. Ability scores are rolled 3d6, straight down the line. Strength, agility, stamina, personality, intelligence, luck.
Which is a huge point of friction for modern players. There's no point buying. There's no rolling 4 dice and dropping the lowest. You don't even get to assign the numbers to the stats you want.
Which is terrifying. If we compare this to modern games, you're mathematically guaranteed to have at least a 15 in your main stat. DCC gives you zero safety net. If you roll an 8 for intelligence and a 6 for strength, well, you're not a wizard. And you're a really terrible warrior.
Yeah, the rulebook actually calls out that this is usually the very first rule players try to house rule or just ignore entirely.
But the designer begs you to trust the process.
Because trusting the process forces you to play the hand you're dealt, not the hand you wish you had. And this whole reliance on physical random fate brings us to one of the most iconic parts of the system.
The dice.
The dice themselves. We aren't just using the standard set. DCC introduces Zaki dice.
Oh man, I need to pause here because this blew my mind. For those listening who might not know, Zaki dice aren't just like novelty items. They were invented to fill the mathematical gaps between standard dice. So instead of just a D20 or a D12, you might be asked to roll a D14 or a D16 or a D24.
Yeah, and DCC weaves these directly into a core mechanic they call the dice chain.
Right.
In a traditional RPG, if you have an advantage, say you're attacking from higher ground, you just add a +2 to your roll. It's just a math tax.
Right, you do the math in your head.
Exactly. But in DCC, if the modifier is big enough, you physically swap the die. You move up the chain from a D20 to a D24. Or if you have a penalty, you drop down to a D16.
It's like shifting gears in a manual car rather than just pressing harder on the gas pedal. But why does physically rolling a weird die, like a D14, change the psychological feel of the game compared to just doing math in your head?
Well, it changes the framing. Instead of thinking, I'm applying a math formula, you feel like the universe is fundamentally altering your potential.
Oh, thanks, Seth.
When you hold a D16, you literally cannot roll a 20. The physical object in your hand limits you. It takes abstract statistics and makes them a tactile reality.
And speaking of fate altering your potential, we have to talk about the luck stat. It's not just a passive number. Every character rolls a D30 at creation to determine a birth augur, like a lucky sign.
Right.
You might roll Survive the Plague, which gives your luck modifier as a permanent bonus to magical healing.
And what's crucial is that specific modifier never changes, even if your actual luck score fluctuates.
Because players can permanently burn their luck score to survive life or death situations.
Exactly. It's an active resource.
So if you're listening, imagine you need a 15 to jump across a chasm and you roll a 9. In most games, you fall and die. But here you can say, I am burning 6 points of my luck stat right now to turn that 9 into a 15.
You survive, but you are literally burning your future good fortune to survive the present. It creates this incredible tension.
Which perfectly transitions us to the next massive departure. We've seen how fate dictates stats and dice. Now let's look at the highest powers in the game, the gods and magic.
Oh, this is where it gets wild.
Right. Your turnip farmers survived, they got a weird D14 sword, and now they need healing. But in DCC, turning to the gods is arguably more dangerous than the dungeon itself.
To understand magic here, we have to ground the concept of alignment. In modern games, alignment is just a personality quiz. Are you good or bad?
Yeah, exactly.
In DCC, alignment represents literal cosmic factions in a multi-dimensional war. Law, chaos, and neutrality. The gods are active participants.
And a cleric isn't just a magical battery. They use idle magic. They roll 1d20, add their personality and caster level, and they are actively beseeching a massive deity to stop what it's doing and grant a favor.
Right. Roll high, the god answers. But if you roll a natural one, you fail and face divine disapproval.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The disapproval range actually grows.
It does.
Fail once, and the next time you cast, you fail on a 1 or a 2. Fail again, it's 1 through 3. If you keep pushing it, you could eventually reach a point where rolling a 13 is an automatic failure and divine punishment. Is a cleric just a hostage to their own deity's mood swings? It sounds terrifying.
Well, if you're an optimizer, it's your worst nightmare. You want action A to yield result B. The cleric's idle magic is designed to break that equation. It models a relationship with a fickle higher power. The gods are busy. Relying on them is inherently risky.
It's like having a cell phone provider who aggressively throttles your data the more you use it.
Yeah.
Except instead of slow internet, they hit you with a plague of locusts.
Exactly.
So how do you fix it? You have to sacrifice literal wealth, right? 50 gold pieces equals 1 point of disapproval reduction.
You have to burn it or donate it. The economy of the game forces you to stay poor if you want to stay magical.
And healing is restricted too. Lay on hands uses the target's hit die type.
And if you heal someone with an opposed alignment like a lawful cleric healing a chaotic thief, it's considered a sin.
Yeah, it angers your god even more, which actually provides a fascinating contrast to the thief class.
Let's talk about the thief. Because while the cleric relies on unpredictable gods, the thief relies on absolute cold, hard skill.
Their alignment actually dictates their progression. Lawful thieves are in organized syndicates. Chaotic are solo assassins. And they have a secret unwritten language called cant.
But the mechanics of their stealth are the real standout.
Yes. Sneak silently and hide in shadows are never opposed rolls. You don't roll against a guard's perception, you roll against a flat difficulty class.
A flat DC. Hiding in a dimly lit area is a DC 5. Broad daylight with minimal obstruction is a DC 20. If you hit the DC, you are practically invisible, period.
It's like knowing exactly how much weight a bridge can hold versus hoping the wind doesn't blow. If you succeed, you get a backstab with a massive attack bonus and an automatic critical hit.
In a game defined by chaotic dice and fickle gods, the thief represents absolute certainty if they have the skill. It encourages audacious gameplay, like hiding in broad daylight.
But wait, does this mechanic secretly make the mundane thief the most reliable and powerful class in a game filled with magic and monsters?
It highlights the chaos by contrast. A wizard can blow themselves up. A warrior can drop their sword. But a high-level thief knows exactly what they are capable of. It proves that human skill is the only true constant in this world.
So what does this all mean? Let's distill all this down for the listener. The genius of the DCC rulebook isn't just nostalgia. It's a masterclass in using game mechanics to generate real emotion.
Absolutely. The meat grinder funnel creates true underdogs. The funky dice make every action tactile.
The magic system turns power into a dangerous gamble. And the skill systems reward absolute audacity. Why should you care about this? Because DCC teaches a valuable lesson about letting go of perfect optimization. In a world obsessed with curating the perfect outcome, sometimes the most memorable experiences come from embracing your flaws, adapting to random chance, and just surviving against the odds.
A perfectly optimized hero is boring. A turnip farmer who survives a dragon with a pitchfork is a legend.
Exactly. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought.
Okay.
If you applied the zero-level character funnel to your real-life projects or hobbies like starting a dozen flawed, chaotic, random ideas and seeing which one naturally survives the meat grinder without trying to perfect them first, how would that transform your relationship with failure and success?
That's a terrifying thought for an optimizer, but incredibly liberating.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Now go find your pitchfork.